everyone that's joined us. I'm Jenny Griggs, Director of Northern Wake Senior Center. I had to think for a minute. It's changed since last week because we used to be responsible for both Eastern Wake and Northern Wake. Now it's only Northern Wake Senior Center, Resources for Seniors. All of y'all are here, have been asked to be here today because we all share a common passion, a common bond, and moving forward together regarding the aging population, as well as the new mandate or proclamation by the governor, all ages, all stages. That's the reason we're here today. Hopefully, by the end of this session, you will have a better understanding of the overall national view of all ages, all stages, of the modernization of aging senior centers and aging spaces, better idea of the domains of wellness, as well as the domains of livability and how they're applicable to how we're going to move forward. And after this, you will want to definitely get all together as a team. And I'm going to call it Team Northern Wake, or Northern Wake Senior Center Team Town of Wake Forest, in celebration of all the things that we're doing to move forward as a town together. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce a dear friend of mine, Divya. We call her Divya V, or Divya Venkat. I had the honor of being a mentor to her when she came to work with Resources for Seniors and was the program coordinator in Eastern Wake. From the very first time I met her, I thought, wow, I just know that she's going to be a real celebrity and a hero to the aging population, and she already is. Today, Divya is the Section Chief of Planning for the Division of Aging for the North Carolina Health and Human Services Division. So Divya, without further ado, I'm going to let you take her away, and y'all all say hey. If you'd like to put things in the chat box, please do. We are leading the this from the Wake Forest location. Divya is at her site, but we're also recording this. So if you know of anyone that would like a copy of the recording, we'll be more than glad to supply it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for that welcome. All right, can you all see my screen now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can.
So good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure being with you all. I was informed by Jenny that on July 19th that the town of Wake Forest has joined the Age Friendly Network. I know Jenny and you all at Northern Wake Senior Center and just the town and all the community partners have been doing a lot over the past years or so to really propel forward this age-friendly model and doing a lot with a dementia-friendly concept as well. So today I will take you through the journey that we have been on at the Division of Aging since 2022 to create a plan that we believe will powerfully support our growing aging population for the next decade to come. As we approach the plan's release in September, we deeply appreciate all the contributions from everyone involved. We had over 275 stakeholders across our great state involved in this plan to really brainstorm what we need to do to support our aging population. So again, this comprehensive cross-sector plan has truly brought together a village of individuals that have the shared commitment to supporting our aging population. Ultimately, our goal is for everyone, regardless of age or stage in life, to become invested in realizing this vision. So I really encourage all of you all to engage actively and contribute to this important work as we move forward. So I want to start off with some data first. You all may have seen some form of this data before, or it may be your first time, but I want to highlight a few key statistics to set the stage. So North Carolina ranks 9th in total population, but also 9th in population 65 plus. Our state is home to an estimated 11 million people. And looking ahead to 2042, our state has the number of individuals aged 65 plus, it's projected to increase from 1.9 currently to 2.8 million, which is a 48% increase. And it's such an intriguing number to see that the growth is happening in our state. Here's just another way of looking at it. 1 in 6 individuals were 65 plus in 2022. And current projections indicate that by next year, 1 in 6 will actually become 1 in 5 individuals that are 65 plus. This is particularly noteworthy because in previous presentations we've given in the past years, we were actually saying that it'd be 2028 or 2030 where that 1 in 6 will become 1 in 5. We're actually 3 years ahead of the numbers that we've been projecting over the previous years, and this just underscores the rapid aging of our population. And so this is a way of looking at it by age cohorts. What I want to really spotlight is that the growth of the 85 plus population is significant with projected growth at 114%, notably driven by the population that we're trying to shift away from saying baby boomers, but they're essentially the population that was born between 1946 to 1964. As they age, we anticipate a higher proportion of the oldest old in the state, leading to an increased demand for long-term services and supports. The last but very critical data that I want to spotlight is our caregiving data. Many of you are probably caregivers yourselves or know someone who is a caregiver. We have 1.3 million caregivers dedicating their time and effort in our state, and it adds up to a staggering total of 1.2 billion hours of unpaid care given. If we were to pay all of those caregivers for the number of care that they were given, it actually translates to $16.5 billion of total unpaid care, which is just in our state. So if you have to think about the entire nation, it's just so many hours that these caregivers are dedicating and just so many value of unpaid care. So understanding this figure is really critical for us to appreciate the significant contributions of our caregivers, but not only that, to be able to advocate for the support and resources that they need to be able to continue their vital role in providing care. So now I want to talk about our process that I said that we started in May 2nd of 2022. So two key initiatives really set the stage for North Carolina to create our multi-sector plan for aging. In 2022, the Center for Healthcare Strategies, they're a national policy design and implementation partner. They invited North Carolina's Department of Health and Human Services to apply and participate in a multi-state learning collaborative to learn about what exactly they called it master aging plan at that time was. So on May 2nd of 2022, our Division of Aging partnered with the Division of Health Benefits of Medicaid, essentially. We partnered together to apply. We were chosen for this opportunity in July of 2022 as one of 9 states for cohort 1 to learn about what it is and how to develop one. And since then, there has been 2 additional cohorts. I want to kind of backtrack a little bit to ground us all in the definition of a multi-sector plan for aging. It might be the first time some of you are hearing about it, but really a multi-sector plan for aging is a umbrella term for a state-led multi-year planning process that brings together stakeholders from different sectors to collaborate together to support our growing aging population. Typically, with the state aging plan or other planning processes, it's really just been the aging network at the table planning and thinking about what to do to support our aging population. However, we've realized that it's important for us to think much more broadly. So, what is transportation going to do? What is commerce doing? What is information technology doing? It is about all of us coming together. It's not just the same key players at the table. So, this plan is really calling out other sectors, all of us to come together harmoniously to support our older adults. You might hear about this plan being called other things in other states, such as some states still have kept the name master plan. Other states call it strategic plans. You might have heard aging well plans, and other states who have combined their multi-sector plans with their age-friendly plans who just have different names. But ultimately, they all share the same overarching goal that it is a multi-year cross-sector plan. So concurrently, staff from AARP-NC and Governor Cooper's Hometown Strong initiative, they approached DHHS leadership about pursuing an age-friendly designation for the state. The AARP network of age-friendly states and communities is independently affiliated with the World Health Organization's Global Health Network for Age-Friendly Cities and Communities and was established to align cities, communities, and organizations with a common vision of making communities a great place to grow old. So since age-friendly work was closely aligned with multi-sector plan for aging, DHHS, we developed a natural partnership with AARP and Governor Cooper's Hometown Strong initiative. And again, Hometown Strong initiative, if you have not heard of it before, it is an initiative dedicated to supporting rural counties of North Carolina and we adopted the Older American Month theme, Age My Way, to really begin some of our initial efforts for the age-friendly designation. So I'll talk through that in a couple slides as well. All right, so this slide is just our timeline of key initiatives that occurred in 2022 and 2022 to give a context to where we are right now. So October 5th, we hosted the Age My Way NC Summit. This event brought together a coalition of partners who played a key role in really supporting the age-friendly designation efforts. Between October and December 2022, that is when we started thinking through what we really need to do to pursue that age-friendly designation. One key component to pursue it at the state level is to do a needs assessment, and that is really why over the summer we did the Age My Way NC survey, which had garnered over 4,000 responses with a 1.9% margin of error. And then on January 2023, we embarked on our efforts to pursue an executive order for a multi-sector plan for aging. And in that executive order, there is a call out for alignment for age-friendly efforts as well. On February of 2023, we established our initial steering committee structure for the multi-sector plan for aging. This was primarily drawn from the Age My Way NC steering and planning committee, but since then we've expanded to add more members for inclusivity. And then March and April, our steering committee, we started to analyze what other states that have already developed multi-sector plans for aging or age-friendly efforts, what were some of their overarching broad focus areas to form our framework for our state. And so I'll share those 4 areas that we've selected in a few slides as well. And then on May 2nd of 2023, Governor Roy Cooper signed Executive Order 280. And let's first start with why an executive order is important. An executive order is really important in launching a multi-sector plan for aging. During the learning collaborative that I talked about, the Center for Healthcare Strategies, they really stressed to all of us in cohort 1 that it's important for states to secure authorization for a multi-sector plan for aging and secure statewide executive leadership and cross-agency engagement from the beginning. And so that is either done through an executive order or some form of legislation to develop a multi-sector plan for aging. An executive order ultimately provides that authoritative leadership and direction from the top, showcasing the government's commitment to addressing aging-related needs. And so when there are changes in gubernatorial administrations, having this executive order really commits all of the cabinet agencies in harmoniously working together to support our growing aging population. So again, on May 2nd, 2023, it signified North Carolina's resolute commitment to building an age-friendly state. The occasion was marked by a gathering at the governor's mansion, as you see on this picture, where stakeholders from various sectors convened to commence the journey outlined in the multi-sector plan for aging. It is also the same day that our state joined the Age-Friendly Network as a 10th state. There are several directives that are called out in the multi-sector plan for aging. I'll just name a few, but I'll also make sure to share the link of the executive order so that you can read through them in more detail. So first and foremost was that the Department of Health and Human Services will collaborate and form working groups to craft the multi-sector plan for aging, and that we would submit this to the governor no later than 1 year from the date of the executive order. Other directives you will see are things such as protection of vulnerable adults with our adult protective services efforts, a summit on nutrition services for older adults, broadband access and digital literacy services, caregiving workforce strategic leadership, and then other cabinet agencies were also called out to do certain things to support our growing aging population, such as transportation or commerce and things of that sort. So on this slide, you see our logo and then our four focus areas. So at our MPA kickoff meeting, shortly after the executive order signing on June of 2023, we introduced our branding, which we've consistently used for all ongoing communication. We really want this to become a name brand like Kellogg's or Kleenex, that we really want people to be able to see this and know exactly what we are doing. So our state's multi-sector plan for aging is all ages, all stages NC. We want to really thank our DHHS Office of Communications for supporting us with our branding. We had a great consultation session. If you know Rebecca Freeman, we had a consultation session with them, and we really wanted the symbol to represent a continuum of care, the ever-evolving needs of individuals as they age through various stages and transitions, and the infinite connections that exist within all ages, all stages. So this is a powerful visual that we're all kind of interconnected in our pursuit of creating a society that values and respects individuals of all ages and all stages. We also introduced our 4 broad goals at that meeting. So I'll talk through those in a few slides, but I want to go back to the timeline and share some of the key initiatives during 2023. So between June and September, the steering committee, we really were working on the structural organizational components to really bring this plan into action. On September 7th, 2023 was the first time that we convened our stakeholder work groups to begin the stakeholder engagement process. From September 2023 to February 2024, as I mentioned, over 275 stakeholders, they collaborated to develop objectives and recommendations. And then between September and November, we also conducted targeted focus groups. We recognize the importance of inclusivity and representation. So we wanted to build upon the listening sessions that we conducted for the state aging plan the year before, and then also to build upon the over 400 responses we got from the age-friendly needs assessment Age My Way survey. What we'd noticed is that the respondents of the Age My Way survey were really wealthy white women. And then with the state aging plan, of course, that focus is really on the Older American Act services and support. So it was really focused on that. We wanted to really have a more kind of a more diverse perspective solicited from this particular focus group. So we conducted focus groups from valuable perspectives of historically marginalized communities. We've not really heard a lot from the African American community, Latino older adults, LGBTQ older adults, Native Americans, Holocaust survivors, and Asian Americans. And so these targeted homogeneous focus groups are really conducted to understand the experiences and conditions that deeply affected them. And we were able to really learn a lot about their lived experiences, their perspectives, and their concerns openly by contracting with a third-party vendor to do these. Oftentimes, when we as state government entities go and do these focus groups, as we did with the state aging plan, sometimes there's some hesitancy for people to open up. And so having the NC Center for Health and Wellness conduct these, we just learned a lot about things like systemic barriers and cultural nuances. They shed spotlight on a myriad of issues ranging from discrimination, social isolation, economic disparities. And so it goes on and on, but we were able to really put together that report. It is on our website if you're interested to take a look at what our historically marginalized populations, older adults had to say. So to continue on our timeline, in 2024, on February 2027, the steering committee received the objectives and recommendations from the work groups. And then on March 4th, we reconvened the stakeholder work groups again in person to present their recommendations to the larger group. So some of these stakeholders may have participated in one subgroup, but they've not been able to participate in all of the work groups. And so having everybody come together, they were able to really provide feedback across different work groups and across different topic areas. This is also the time where we initiated a very small public input period. It was primarily just within our aging network. We had 2 conferences, we had posters and sticky notes everywhere where people were able to provide input. We also had a very short period of input for email input, and so our aging network was able to review through the drafted recommendations from the work group and provide additional feedback. So on May 2nd of 2024, we submitted a high-level progress report to the governor highlighting key month-by-month milestones, as I've been sharing with you all, and then provided an overview of the draft recommendations. We do plan to release the full plan on September 30th, 2024. It's fastly emerging, so we're really excited to be able to share the full plan with you all. So over the next few slides, what I'm going to do is share the 4 goals of the plan at a very high level. And then I want to also mention that under each of the 4 goals, the way that the stakeholder work groups are structured is that there were 4 broad work groups, and then under each of those 4 work groups were 5 subgroups under them, and they all focus on different key topic areas related to older adults. So the first one is affording aging. And so this goal is really about engaging the full potential of older adults, not only to afford aging, but to thrive with a sense of purpose. It's really about creating an environment where financial security, personal growth, and community contributions are attainable for older adults. So I'd mentioned there was 5 subgroups under affording aging. These bullets are the focus areas of each of those subgroups, but at a high level, key focus areas were things such as educational opportunities for older adults, funding sources for home and community-based services, age-inclusive workplace practices, intergenerational collaboration, bringing together the young and the old, financial literacy and retirement planning education. And so these were all of it that was encompassing affording aging. The next one is optimizing health and well-being. It is ensuring that North Carolinians have access to person-centered services and supports that will optimize their life expectancy and health quality. So this is really our healthcare and prevention space. It really emphasizes the importance of healthcare and prevention measures across the continuum of care from frail to well. So, key focus areas under this goal are innovative healthcare delivery and accessibility, fostering a culture of healthy aging. So, they really looked at the Healthy Aging Task Force report. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with that, but the NC Institute of Medicine put together a really comprehensive report that looks at also 4 focus areas that are pertinent to fostering a culture of healthy aging. And so, this group really dived into what recommendations came out of that to really highlight and put them into the multi sector plan for aging. Other key focus areas were continuum of care services, long-term care financing and delivery challenges, and then healthcare workforce. Next one is strengthening communities for a lifetime. This is really at the infrastructural level, particularly at the community level. The goal focuses on building infrastructure and services at the community level to support the needs of older adults, ensuring that they can live safely and independently. And so there's a lot of key areas that went into this particular work group. So it ranges from things such as adult protective services, disaster preparedness and emergency management, transportation services and options, housing challenges, nutrition, and social connectivity and digital literacy. So we had focused subgroups on each of these topic areas propose recommendations. Last but not least is supporting older adults and their families. This is a space where a lot of folks working in our aging network see their work. It's the home and community-based services, the traditional aging and caregiving services, but we've also been able to bring in the disability community into this work group's focus areas. So again, the key themes are things such as multidisciplinary teams for dementia care, caregiving support, supporting aging individuals with disabilities, and then also the technology-based solutions is really vital to something that this work group focused on. There's a lot of growth with AI technology and how it's supporting caregiving and just older adults in general. And so they were able to look at what innovations are there and how can we bring them to the forefront for supporting our growing aging population, and as well as long-term services and supports was looked at on this group as well. So we took all of these great 160 recommendations that we'd received from our work groups, and we have to think through next stages for implementations. How can we make it so we can kind of focus on key priorities in a way that we can truly make action? So you are actually one of the first to hear about these priorities. We've given this presentation to 2 other groups. So this is the first time that we're really sharing these priorities, and then you all will see them in more detail when we release the plan in September. So again, after we received the recommendations from the work groups, we've really been focusing on prioritization and getting us through that last 10% of releasing this plan. So during May and June of 2024, this year, we've concentrated on taking 160 recommendations and synthesizing them into 8 key priorities. And they've been synthesized into a total of 43 prioritized recommendations for the next 2 years. And they each have actionable steps to guide effective implementation. Really, each of these priorities are longstanding challenges that have persisted over the years, reflecting issues where there are gaps in services, support systems, and community environments for older adults are more pronounced. So these priorities, they do encompass our 4 overarching goals, so you can see where exactly they do fit. And they do really take into consideration of all of the 20 subgroup priorities and also the national strategic frameworks, domains, and priorities that I'll talk about at the end of my presentation. By organizing the recommendations into these 8 key priorities, we really feel that we can communicate the plan more clearly and manage its implementation effectively. And so I want to reiterate that this is a 10-year plan, but we plan to approach the implementation in 2-year phases. And so these are going to be the priorities for the first 2 years. And then as subsequent years come along, we will have differing priorities, but ultimately they will be tied to the 4 focus areas for infrastructural framework for our state's multi-sector plan for aging, which is affording aging, optimizing health and well-being, strengthening communities for a lifetime, and supporting older adults and their families. And so if you've not had a chance to participate in one of the work groups, when we were starting development, you will have an opportunity to get involved in the implementation stages. So if any of these priorities really speak to the work that you do or your interests, please do reach out to me and we can get you plugged into our implementation work groups and committees. So let's start with the first priority first. This is achieving the full potential of older adults. This is really essential to fostering inclusive and supportive communities. And this comprehensive approach addresses critical aspects such as retirement plannings and savings, financial literacy, intergenerational engagement, ageism, and lifelong learning. Everything that was really tied to our affording aging worker, we were able to synthesize into this priority. And so, for the potential of older adults priority, we aim to prioritize several key steps. So I'm just going to name a few. We plan to expand employment opportunities that value the expertise of older workers, fostering safe, flexible, and accessible work environments that really encourage intergenerational engage. We plan to promote retirement savings among state residents by advocating for legislation to establish a state facilitated program. You might have heard of the Work and Save model, but we really want to promote something along that program to enable businesses to offer a retirement savings plan through payroll deductions. Additionally, we aim to combat ageism through educational initiatives and advocacy campaigns. Last year was really the first year that DHHS and the state of North Carolina was able to launch a campaign and have a prioritization on ageism awareness, and we aim to sustain that moving forward. We also intend to address healthcare affordability by revisiting eligibility requirements for the Medicare Savings Program that reduces costs for older adults with lower income. We also want to reestablish the Prepare Pre Retirement Planning Program for state employees and encourage private sector employers to offer similar programs for their workplaces. So ultimately, a combination of all of these recommendations for the first 2 years, we feel that will really empower older adults, foster inclusivity, and enhance their overall well being and participation in society. The next one is long term services and supports. It plays a crucial role in enabling older adults and individuals with disabilities to age in place, supporting community integration, and preventing unnecessary institutionalization. By investing in robust LTSS infrastructure, we aim to enhance care coordination, improve health outcomes, and promote independence and dignity for those receiving care and their families. So, for this particular priority, three critical steps have really emerged as something we'd like to prioritize for the first 2 years of the plan, and they actually do align with the national priorities that I'll talk about. First, we aim to convene a task force or legislative committee to initiate planning for delivering and financing services and support for a growing number of individuals, particularly the middle class individuals that may lack financial resources for extended care. Additionally, we seek to enhance awareness and understanding of long term care costs and Medicare limitations through SHIP's Medicare 101 sessions. We also plan to identify and address policy, procedural, and funding and other barriers that are hindering the development of a comprehensive care of services and support. So we feel like these are steps crucial for addressing the evolving needs of individuals requiring long-term care and ensuring accessible and sustainable support systems in place. The next one is workforce. So, as more individuals enter their later years, the demand for specialized care and support services rises exponentially. And this challenge is compounded by factors such as workforce shortages, retention issues, and the need for enhanced training and diverse skill sets to address the complex health and societal needs of older adults. Addressing these challenges proactively is essential to ensure that older adults receive the high quality care and supports necessary for maintaining their health, independence, and quality of life. For the workforce priority, four actionable steps have emerged that we would like to prioritize. First, we would like to identify and implement steps to ensure that there is a knowledgeable and skilled workforce for the increasing diversity of roles in the aging field, both at the state level but also at the local level, particularly given the impending retirement of many long-term workers in this sector. We also recognize the importance of supporting the NC Center for Workforce for Health. They're doing a lot to tackle the recommendations in the NC Caregiving Workforce Report, and they're also doing a lot with conducting a comprehensive Medicaid rate and wage analysis to guide rate setting for long-term services and supports, which is going to be crucial for attracting and retaining workers. Additionally, we aim to expand financial incentives and support mechanisms for individuals pursuing careers in healthcare, such as loan repayment programs, tuition reimbursements, and stipends. while advocating for fair and competitive compensation policies to enhance recruitment and retention efforts. And then last but not least, we want to do a lot in the consumer directed option space, such as the Home Care Independence Program, if you've heard of it, that really empowers older adults and persons with disabilities hire caregivers of personal assistance for their personal from their personal network directly. So these are some of the areas that we'd like to focus on in the space of workforce for the first 2 years. Next one is housing, and we know that housing is fundamental to ensuring the well-being and quality of life for older adults in North Carolina. It presents both challenges but also opportunities as the population ages. It has been one of the number one things we've heard from focus groups from older adults that housing is a key issue. There is a growing preference among older adults to age in place, remaining in familiar communities and homes, and so there is an increasing need for safe, affordable, and accessible housing options that cater to the specific needs and preferences of our aging population. Significant barriers do exist, such as limited affordable housing stock, inadequate accessibility features into existing homes, and then a lack of supportive services that often hinder older adults' ability to remain independent and engage in their communities effectively. So, for the housing priorities, we have several priorities we'd like to focus on. First, we would like to advocate for executive or legislative action to address housing challenges. With that, an idea that we have is a standalone agency that focuses on housing. Currently, we don't have a cabinet agency or a department that is focused on housing. And so, having that standalone housing department will really allow focused work on things and having programs dedicated to housing rehabilitation, repair, and modifications. Additionally, we want to work to increase incentives such as tax credit or no or low interest loans for developing additional housing stock or rehabilitating existing properties. And then another key step is to increase income eligibility for the exemption and deferral amounts for the homestead property tax exemption program and circuit breaker tax deferral programs. We also want to identify opportunities to compensate counties, especially low income counties, for the revenue loss resulting from participating in these programs. And then lastly, we want to continue to do more work in adoption of the universal design principles in housing development and renovation. Next priority is adult protective services. We would really like to prioritize three critical efforts. We have an adult protective services improvement plan and a dedicated design teams that are actively working under the Division of Social Services, their adult services section that is really driving this work to safeguard vulnerable adults age 18 plus who face risk of abuse, neglect, and exploitation due to physical or mental impairment. So for effective implementation, we don't really want to reinvent the wheel, but we want to closely collaborate with the Adult Protective Services Improvement Plan to provide support to these initiatives that they're focusing on. So these are actually some of their priorities. So the first one is to advocate for statutory change recommended by the Adult Protective Services design team. They have diligently identified necessary updates to state statutes and funding for a workforce standard study over the past 2 years. And so there is work to be done in that space. Additionally, we would like to provide state funding, which is currently lacking to county departments of social services to be able to bolster adult protective service program functions, including emergency service provisions. And then another short term goal is to authorize a creation of a pilot alternative response program for county departments of social services aimed at improving protective response times and enhancing essential services. And I have a few more left to get through. This one is probably pertinent to the work that you all do with the town of Wake Forest. So the age-friendly state and communities. So for the age-friendly state and communities priorities, we want to focus on 10 key initiatives, which is a lot, but ultimately we want to enhance the quality of life for older adults in North Carolina. And there's just so much to be done in that space. So we want to assist more communities, businesses, healthcare facilities, educational institutes, and others in pursuing an age-friendly designation. We just came to realize that there's a university, UNC, that is an age-friendly university. So things like scaling up that to other universities and community colleges is something we'd like to focus on. Continuing to promote a culture of healthy living across all ages and stages to increase awareness to programs such as falls prevention or the NC Senior Games. Those programs really do a lot to enhance the health and well-being of older adults. We want to strengthen collaboration among public, private, and nonprofit agencies to combat social isolation and improve connectivity for older adults. And so we've launched our digital equity program, and we are actively working to hire and train digital navigators across our AAAs to go out and provide these training initiatives to older adults. We also want to promote innovative healthcare delivery models that enhance accessibility, quality, and effectiveness of care for older adults, addressing food insecurity. So there's just several initiatives that we would like to focus on, and they will be detailed in our plan that will be released in September. So, with home and community based services, as you know, it encompasses a broad range of health and human services provided to individuals' home or community settings, as opposed to facility based settings such as assisted living or nursing homes. So, for the home and community based service priority, three actionable steps have risen to importance. First one is really data modernization efforts. At the Division of Aging, we have a really outdated 30-year-old aging resource management system. And so an upgrade is going to be important for us to be able to have timely provider payment, enhanced data collection, and then improve program management and oversight. So we do track waitlist data for all of our HCCBG programs, but it's not necessarily always accurate. And so replacing our ARM system will allow us to be able to understand where we stand with programs and also waitlists. Second, we plan to review the current operation and structure of the home and community care block grant, making necessary adjustments to ensure its ongoing efficiency and effectiveness. So, years ago, there was a lot of programs that were bundled together at the state and federal level that really made sense, but it may not necessarily make sense moving forward. So, we really want to think through changes. And so, it really aligns with the work that we're doing with the Older American Act final rule efforts that is currently occurring at the national level. And then third, we aim to explore new funding options such as Medicaid, the private market, and cost sharing. And so by incorporating new resources into existing funding streams, such as a block grant, we feel that we can address the growing demand for services and manage waitlists, as I mentioned before. And I mentioned there's also work being done to comply with the final rule to update regulations for implementing Older American Act programs to better support our aging network, with the ultimate goal of ensuring that the nation's growing population of older adults can continue to receive the services and supports that they need to live and thrive in their own communities and homes. So, last but not least, is our family caregiving support space. I did share some caregiving data with you all earlier, but North Carolina faces a significant demographic challenge with its aging population as more individuals reach retirement age and prefer to age in place. And this preference places a substantial responsibility on family members who often have to step into caregiving roles, managing daily activities, healthcare needs, and advocating for their loved ones' well being. So, for the family caregiving priority, five actionable steps have really risen to prominence. First thing we want to do is looking at opportunities to blend and braid federal and state funding for services such as home and community based services, similar to what I said in the HCBS priority, but more so focusing on our caregiving programs, such as Project Care, for instance, which targets families and persons with dementia and providing caregivers with supports and their needed break that they need. We also aim to enhance family leave requirements. Minnesota has done a lot of great work with this. So, this includes paid and unpaid family leave and supporting employers who adopt family friendly workplace policies. Additionally, we want to explore the possibility of a state tax credit for family caregivers to help cover out of pocket costs such as home modifications, assistive devices, and personal care expenses. We also plan to secure additional funding for the North Carolina Caregiving Portal. And if you're not familiar with that portal, it is a free online educational resources to help caregivers develop the essential skills that they need. Finally, we aim to establish a streamlined referral process to ensure caregivers receive comprehensive information about trainings and resources. And so this is kind of building on our no wrong door model, if you've heard of that before from other states who are also pursuing that work. So again, we've consolidated over 160 recommendations that the stakeholder work groups proposed into these targeted priorities and 43 actionable steps to guide our actions effectively over the next 2 years. Advocating and working together are crucial because achieving these goals really depends on our collective partnerships at both the state level, federal level, and then at the local level. And so by uniting our efforts, we truly feel that we can turn these priorities into tangible outcomes that will significantly benefit our communities. So, as I said, there is also a national strategic framework. Many states have started to develop multi sector plans for aging to improve their ability to meet the needs of their older adult population. And at the federal level, they are building on state action by leading the development of a national plan on aging. On May 30th, Health and Human Services, they released a report to Congress titled Aging in the United States, a strategic framework for a national plan on aging. The report was developed by leaders and experts from 16 federal agencies and departments working together through an interagency coordinating committee on healthy aging and age friendly communities. It's a lengthy title, but they're called the ICC. The report outlines the approach our nation is going to take to prepare for the future, and it is the initial step in the development of a national plan to improve the aging experiences for older adults and creating age friendly communities that appreciate the contributions, sustain health and well being of all ages, and recognize and support family caregivers and the value and reward the work of the professionals who provide in home and community based care. So they've also been able to really look at the focus areas of other states who have developed multi-sector plans for aging to see how it aligns with the national domains framework. So the national domain also has four key priorities. The first one is age-friendly communities. So as you can see, states are doing a really good job addressing social connection now, but there is still work to be done to addressing economic and financial security at 57%. Second national domain priority is coordinating housing and support services. So you can see that age friendly, healthy system. There's still a lot of work to be done at the state level to really elevate priorities to support age friendly, healthy systems. But we're doing really good, at least most states are doing really good at affordable housing. The last two national domain priorities are access to long term services and support. So, as I mentioned, there's alignment with our state priority on that one, and then aligning healthcare and supportive services. So, states are doing a really good job with elder justice, person centered, statewide access system, the no wrong door concept that I mentioned. But there's work to be done in aligning health and human services and then that whole person health financing. So, raising awareness, I want to state, is really essential for advancing the multi sector plan for aging because it highlights the importance of collective action. Everyone has a role to play in this effort, from public agencies and private sector partners to local communities. And so, our messaging is really that effective advocacy and engagement is going to require broad support and active participation at all levels. And by raising awareness, we can ensure that all stakeholders and the public understands their role, and we're all collectively motivated to contributing to creating a comprehensive an effective plan of action that addresses the needs of our aging population. So, with that, this is some of the things that we've done in the marketing space. Starting in April through November of 2024, this year, we partnered with Avenir Bow. They're a marketing agency to launch a marketing campaign aimed at raising awareness about all ages, all stages, NC, and the resources available to our aging population. You might have seen some of these ads if you are actively watching PBS or on LinkedIn. You might have seen this as well, but two commercials that we've developed is I'm still here and then explain like I'm 65. If we have time at the end, I can pull up a couple of those to share the messaging on those. And then we've also been able to have three print ads that are running in our NC State magazine. You might have seen the one in the July magazine, but there are also two more that are there. So September and November magazines will also have information about all ages, all stages, and opportunities to get involved. We have an estimated reach of those campaigns at 2.4 million for phase one and then 42 million for phase two. So we've also partnered with UNC SHEPS, our academic and research partners, to develop an aging data dashboard. We think that what we've heard over and over from our partners is that it's really hard to tell a story with the data on these topics at both the state and the community level because data is just either not available or that it's available in different websites and it's hard to really navigate and be able to analyze and get that data. So, working with UNC Sheps, we're trying to house all related aging and disability data into one website and having an interactive dashboard that people can be able to look at their county or compare different county level data to really tell a story and make an impact at the community level. Additionally, we're working with senior centers to host senior center candidate forums in September and October. Selena Royal, our senior center coordinator at the state level, she's facilitating this, but it'll really be crucial for engaging with candidates about their plans and perceptions on aging. And so these forums are going to be an important platform for discussing the multi-sector plan for aging and the key priorities that I mentioned, age-friendly efforts, and strategies that impact older adults. So please do engage with the candidates, ask them what they plan to do for our aging population, and make an informed decision. So, national momentum is the next thing that I want to talk about. As part of the national momentum, I want to highlight this quote. We've really had the opportunity to showcase our leadership. We've been invited to a lot of different national conferences to share what our state has done. Thanks to our strong partnership and support from our governor's office, particularly Kristen, if you're familiar with Kristen, she's been so pivotal in connecting all of the cabinet agencies together. And so we're really proud to be among a select group of states leading this important initiative. So this is the map that showcases multi-sector plan activities across the state. 27 states are developing a multi-sector plan for aging to this present date. Many other states are continuing to join this effort, and North Carolina's executive order is really serving as a model for other states. As you can see, we are one of 4 states in the dark blue that have been able to really secure that executive order legislation and commitment from all of our cabinet agencies in propelling this work forward. And so in September, we're excited to join the orange states who have already developed and are currently implementing their multi-sector plan for aging. Pioneer states are states like California and Texas. And so if you are looking to see how they've been able to really implement their plan, please do look at their websites. They have really great dashboards and implementation trackers, and all of their goals and objectives are clearly laid out. So yeah, definitely do take a look at the multi-sector plan for aging website. And I want to bring you all to attention of a National Strategic Plan for Aging Act. On February 28, 2024, Senator Gillibrand in New York and Senator Casey from Pennsylvania introduced a Strategic Plan for Aging Act. This landmark bill would create a new national grants program under the Older American Act to incentivize and support states' efforts to create strategic plans for aging. Specifically, the Strategic Plan on Aging would award grants to states, territories, tribes to create or continue to develop their own multi-sector plan for aging. And so there are actually a lot of multi-sector plans at the local level too. For instance, Orange County has a master aging plan, and then New Hanover County is developing their multi-sector plan for aging. And so this bill may not be passed, but if it does, it introduces federal MPA legislation. And it's a great step in ensuring that our nation is prepared to care for our growing aging population. And so, if it is passed, there will be opportunities to apply for grant funding to support state, local, nonprofit, and private sectors to collaborate on system based solutions that touch on major areas of the aging life experiences, such as healthcare, housing, transportation, consumer affairs, employment, and income security. So I have a couple questions that I wanted to leave you all with. Is your agency or is your organization ready to support our growing aging population? What data or information do you have to plan for these demographics? And we can certainly at the state level provide any specific county level data that you need to be able to go out into the community to tell a story. And have you considered policy and program changes that you would need to ensure that you're meeting the needs of an aging population? I know Jenny has done a lot of great work at Northern Wake Senior Center to really revamp programs. I know you all are doing great work to think about innovative programs, intergenerational programs, and going outside of the walls of the senior centers to support our aging population. And then what will your employee base look like? So these are some critical considerations that I wanted to ask you all to think through. So, really, this is why we're here today to really invite you all to join the initiatives outlined in Executive Order 280. And these are additional opportunities for you all to get involved. We do have a newsletter that we send out updates on a monthly basis, so please do register for that. Please do share All Ages, All Stages NC with your community partners, and then talk to your representatives about All Ages, All Stages NC. And I'll be sure that these slides get out to all of you, but these are some additional resources that we've linked. We've partnered with OSBM, our state demographer, to write a series of blogs, and we're continuing to write a few more. So the aging profiles, the running the numbers, these are all some great resources for you all to use to tell a story about our aging population. And so I want to say a huge congratulations to you all as a town of Wake Forest in becoming an age and dementia friendly community. It is a huge step, and I'm excited to see what you all do as a town to set the stage and set a model for the other towns that are closely following in our state. And to stay updated, please do get connected with us. Joyce Massey Smith is our director, and our co-chairs for the multi-sector plan for aging in our state is Joyce and our assistant director, Jill Simmerman, and Mary Bethel, who is a long-term advocate. She is the co-chair of the NC Coalition on Aging. And then I am the project manager for All Ages, All Stages. Thank you so much, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
With that said, Divya, before y'all answer the questions, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you're impressed with this young woman as I am and always have been. I do want to tell you a couple of things though. In the last year and a half, we became actively involved with the HHS mainly because of Divya. And so I followed them a lot, and a lot of what we plan in programs and advocacy and anything that we do is basically has been supportive of the upcoming All Ages, All Stages movement with their 4 overreaching goals. That's what we're using here, and that's one of the big differentiators, I think, at our facility and maybe some of the others. For those of you who are on this conference call, I really appreciate it. I know that you're here to make a difference. I'd like to challenge us to basically look into having a multi-sector plan in our area. I know that we've got the right teams that we can put together to do it, and the right support. You also take a look at the All Ages, All Stages logo. You will notice that it is a roadmap. Well, that roadmap was an inspiration for our Path to Wellness programming when it first came out. And with our Path to Wellness program, we can integrate all of the things that Divya's been talking about to incorporate all ages, all stages, and Age My Way program. Divya, with that said, I'll be quiet and open it up to everybody that's here for questions. Thank you.
Yeah, Jenny, I just want to say it's great that you all are using the 4 frameworks of all ages, all stages to make some action in the town of Wake Forest. I think it's great that you all are pursuing a multi-sector plan for aging. I think it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for funding and also partnerships. So for instance, I know Orange County, they continue to get reached out by California, which is the first state to create a multi-sector plan for aging, thinking that it's Orange County in their state. And so Janice Tyler has been invited to a lot of conferences and provided a lot of support at the federal level for the great work that they're doing with their master aging plan. And with that, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And if not, I definitely will get the slides shared out to you all.
Divya, this is Pat. I just want to thank you. There is so much information here. I'm on overload. So I'm processing for questions, but again, amazing presentation, lots of information, and I'm very excited because I do see, as Jenny said, the how the work that Wake Forest and the Northern Wake Senior Center has been doing is so blended with the goals and objectives of all ages, all stages. And so as we move forward, I am very excited about continuing to make sure that those connections are not just made, but they really have meaningful impact in our community. So this provides a great framework for our thinking. So thank you again.
Of course, Pat, and we'd be happy to share all of the 160 recommendations to you all to draw inspiration from as you're developing the town level multi-sector plan for aging or county level multi-sector plan for aging. I think there are a lot of great ideas proposed by those 275 stakeholders. We've been able to synthesize them into 43 that we ultimately think we at the state level will be able to take action on. But when we release the plan in September, we will have an appendix section that's going to have recommendations that we think that the communities can pick up on to take action on. So that I think would be a great area for you all to take a close look at.
Oh, that would be perfect, because mapping local needs with the state overlay, will be so important in developing a more regional localized plan. And so, yes, knowing that data or that information will be available, that will be very helpful. Thank you very much.
I'd also like to say we do have tickets to the launch of the NCOA presentation coming up. Divya, know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the annual meeting, right.
Right. I have 6 tickets, 5 of which are available. If any of you are interested to be my guest at that, I would love to have you. So please send me an email aside.
Yes, all of the Division of Aging will be there. We're happy to connect with you all. And the guest speaker is going to be Kostas Miskas. He is our national regional coordinator from ACL. He'll be there to talk more in detail about the national framework that I just briefly touched upon at the end. And he's going to talk about how states that are developing multi-sector plans now can use a framework of the national plan to frame their state priorities. Because we were actually ahead of the curve, and so we weren't able to take the national model to create our state plan. But we are actually going back and revisiting our priorities to make sure that we have close alignment with the national priorities.
Are there any questions, comments? Well, Divya, this has been wonderful. If for those of you who want to go, a couple of us are going to stay and direct some questions to Divya, specific to a couple of issues. I will say, for those of you who aren't aware, we already have visited Orange County in the past. I don't see one of our board members from Friends of Northern Wake Senior Center went with me. I think it would be good for us to go see it again. I'm sure that we would be warmly welcomed. They're wonderful there. If we need to get any other ideas or basically see how they're set up. Divya, can you kind of give an overview of Orange and how they're strategically set up as far as having their Department of Aging and everything?
Yeah, so their Department of Aging is not connected to our senior center network. They're their own standalone entity, and so they have they're kind of like I would say if y'all have been to the Division of Social Services in where the Intergenerational Center is in Greensboro, so they operate in a similar model to that, and so they've been able to kind of make decisions on their own and not necessarily be bound to the senior center priorities, and so they have been able to have their own master aging plan before the state has even created a master plan. They're on their 7th plan, I believe, and so they've just been uniting all of their partners in Orange County to come together to make action, and they meet every month. They have meetings, and then quarterly they convene together to discuss how they're making progress on their priorities.
Okay, well, we've had a couple of comments, and we will be sending out the recording. Anything else that y'all have a need for? And thank you again, everybody, for caring enough to be on this conference call. I really appreciate your time. And Ann and Pat, if y'all want to stay on, and the rest of you guys, we'll see you soon. Thanks for what you do.